Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off with Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And as we have seen, from 2020 being the year of prophecy and 2021 being the hastening of the coming of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, hey, these prophecies definitely aren't tarrying anymore. You've got talks of food shortages, that event that happened at the Capitol, which is leading to further restrictions on free speech on the internet, which we know is ultimately leading towards the famine of the word, the demonization of the Hebrew Israelites as domestic terrorists or so-called black identity extremists, talks of blackouts, cyber attacks, lockdowns, martial law, the list goes on and on. But ultimately, the end times prophecy we're diligently waiting for, and if you have the spiritual eyes to see, you'll see that it's not tarrying, is the mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast, which is the RFID/NFC microchip implant. This is Revelation chapter 13. I'm going to start at 16. And he causeth all, that he being the elite rulers of the planet right now, who were Edomites, the so-called white people, such as your Rothschilds, Rockefellers, DuPonts, Gettys, Merovingians, Oppenheimers, etc., both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, the microchip implant, in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And with each passing day, we're getting closer and closer to the mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast microchip implant, where you won't be able to do anything in society without it. You'll be a social pariah, and then eventually it will lead to people being faced with being put to death for not taking the mark. And with this whole C-19 situation going on in the vaccine, we're seeing how it's leading towards not only the microchip implant, but you not being able to do anything in society. You've got different governments and corporations talking about restricting people's abilities to go to different events, like sporting events, movie theaters, or going to the store to buy or sell anything if they don't have the vaccine or some type of digital immunity certificate to let people know that they have the vaccine. And hey, again, it's just psychologically preparing you people to eventually take that mark. But in this video, I'll be profiling a little bit of this video from the brother GMS Upon Precepts YouTube page titled, What More Can We Say But to Hasten the Day? Hey, 2021, hastening the return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And the little bit I'm going to play in this video shows that talks of the microchip implant in a cashless society are getting into these mainstream media outlets. This is on Yahoo Finance, and they're talking about Sweden moving towards a cashless society and a microchip implant, and the speakers in this clip speculating on it coming to everywhere else.
For your groceries with the swipe of your hand. While Sweden is making your sci-fi fantasies come to life. At least 4,000 people have had a microchip about the size of a grain of rice implanted into their skin. The technology is used to replace credit cards and cash, but can also be used to measure some biological data. Now, naysayers of this have concerns over the safety of technology. They also note there may be a link between the doubling cybercrime rate in Sweden over the last 10 years. But Andy Serwer, if you had the option to perhaps have this little piece of rice, let's say right in the fatty part between your index finger and your thumb, you know, kind of a neutral part of the body, just right in there, all of a sudden you're ready to go.
No doubt I'd try.
In your hand or in your forehead.
Try it.
Sure.
I mean, I would try it. And we were just talking during the break, Miles, about the implications. And then the problem with it I see is, okay, it's fail-safe, except don't you ever want another family member to use your account?
Right.
And so you can't trade it off. I'm not going to rip it out, but could I trade the purchasing power to you if you had one in your hand? Go
Like
boom.
that? Boom.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is coming. One in your hand, go
Like
boom.
that? Boom.
Yeah, one in your hand, go
Like
boom.
that? Boom.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is coming. And then whose is it? Is it the banks? Is it the government of Sweden? Is it Google?
The manufacturer.
Yeah,
of it,
or
maybe?
who is it?
Right.
Who's it connect? Is it Square? Who runs this thing? I mean, there's a million questions, but
That he who causeth all, implementing his new world order, that's who runs it all. And you're going to be nothing more than cattle and goyim in it if you receive that mark. But ultimately, you're going to be destroyed.
there is no doubt in my mind that this is coming. But I do question whether it's going to be wearables or implants.
Though it tarry, wait for it shall surely come. It will not tarry, and it's coming very quickly.
Whether it's going to be wearables or implants. I mean, I think that's going to be sort of the big debate because, you know, the watch and that ring that guy had.
Yeah, the Aura ring.
Right.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that, which is, measures basically your resting heart rate as you sleep and as you live.
And it's not going to be a wearable. Ultimately, it's going to be an implant, something permanent in you. Back in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, and we're going to go to the Strongs for the word mark. Strong's G5480, charagma, a stamp and imprinted mark, thing carved into your skin, sculpture, graven work, and in the Strong's definition, charagma, from the same as G5482, a scratch or etching in your skin, i.e. stamp, as a badge of servitude to your new masters, the Edomites, more specifically the elites of the Edomites, or sculpted figure, statue, graven mark. So hey, the elites, that he that calls it all, want this mark to be in you because these Edomites are megalomaniacal. They have a God complex, as it says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 through 4. They want to shew themselves as the Most High and sit in the seat of the Most High. They want to be omnipotent, omnipresent. They want to control every single aspect of your life. And if that's the case, then they wouldn't want you to have something that's a wearable that can be taken off. They want something permanently in you to tag you as their cattle, their goyim. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And let's go to the Strongs for 666. Strong's G5516, high size stigma. Go to the Strong's definition, high size stigma, the 22nd, 14th, and an obsolete letter, G4742, as a cross. And when we go to G4742, it reads stigma, a mark pricked, cut into, in, or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves, which you'll be, and hey, which you already are in this system, and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master, that he that causeth all, or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods.
And I think the more we learn about longevity, the more
Right.
it's things like resting heart rate and glucose levels are the most important things.
But now that I think about it, there's another option as well, which is why can't you just do retinal? In other words, that's sort of you walk in and it just sees who you are.
Right.
So why do I need an implant at all if it can tell who I am by reading my biometrics somehow?
I'd actually prefer, I think if we want to do that example, right? And you've spent enough time in China to know there's facial recognition everywhere.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to have something, implanted like in my hand than to have my face recognized in a database. Because at least this is part of me, right? And presume it has some sort of health monitoring, so it
Right.
knows that my blood pressure is about this, my heart rate's about that, my body temperature tends to be in this range. So let's say I'm running a fever, knows I'm not well, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The facial recognition is pure surveillance. I
Well-
don't really love that.
Yeah, I don't care. You know how I feel about that, though, Miles? I'm not
Is
doing
what it
anything
is.
wrong. I don't
Right,
care.
I know.
And, I just want ease of use. But I think what all this speaks to, is, wearables, biometrics, or implants. Those are three broad categories we just sort of mapped out. That, it's sort of far from a foregone conclusion. And we may have all three sort of competing systems over the next, 20, 50 years. But no doubt all three of those things will be in play as we look to pay for things, check our health, and have our identity tracked.
That's right.
But no doubt all three of those things will be in play as we look to pay for things, check our health, and
Buy or sell.
have our identity tracked.
That's right.
By security, right?
It sounds like a great conversation we could have with Kathy Wood.
Yes.
Ark Invest. I'm sure they have multiple plays in all of this, right? We got the AI play, we got the gene.
So with this video, back to Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, one more time. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Though it tarry, wait for it shall surely come, it will not tarry. Like we just saw from that clip with Yahoo Finance talking about microchip implants, and like I said earlier in the video, with this whole C-19, vaccine, and digital immunity certificate situation, where you've got governments and corporations talking about people not being able to go to stores and buy things, go to different events, or even travel abroad by plane without the vaccine or proof of having it. Everything is leading towards the mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast, microchip implant. But you sincere Akim should know by now not to take the mark, no matter what comes your way, because to those that take the mark, especially you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true children of Israel, nothing but mass death, destruction, and misery is coming upon you from Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai for taking the mark. I'm going to close it out in Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 to 10. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, Esau Edom's political, financial, and military system, this EU NATO alliance that the U.S. is a part of, the reincarnated Roman Empire, the last leg of the fourth beast in Daniel chapter 2, those iron toes mixed with miry clay, and receive his mark, that microchip implant, in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, those nuclear-tipped ICBMs being shot to the ends of the earth, as well as those laser beams being shot from the chariots of the Most High, which people ignorantly refer to as so-called UFOs, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, Yahushai HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ. So with all these things being the case, you sincere Akim out there should have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as you possibly can to make your calling and election sure, and have that protective hedge of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai over you, so you can be kept from the hour of temptation when it takes place. So again, as always, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to you Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shalom.